Hey everyone, it is Misty and it is day 9 of the countdown to Christmas. So let's go ahead and dig right in. See if we can find number 9. Oh, there it is. All right. So let's go ahead and open it up and see what today brings. Oh, how cute is this? A bias tape toolkit. So let's open it up and check it out. Look at that, how awesome. So it comes with 4 different sizes. It tells you the size that you would cut your strips and then the finished size that you would get with either single fold or double fold. It comes with a little awl or stiletto to make your life easier. This is so cool and will be so handy for all of your bias binding projects that you're dreaming up in the future. So let's go ahead and pack this back up. So we will leave it here and our favorite elf, Courtney, will show us how to use it.
Hi everybody, it's Courtney with Missouri Star, also known as Jenny's Elf. We are on day 9, so I'm going to show you a few of the projects with the treat that Misty sent over today. So these are bias tape tools, and it's a little kit, and it's so pretty. It's in all our pretty little colors, and we also included this nice awl, which I will show you what that comes in handy for when we're using the kit. So let me grab my projects and some fabric, and I'll get you going. All right, so we've got our little bias tool kit here. I am going to show you how I use it and some of the projects that I use it on. Of course, you can just use it as regular binding. Bias binding is great when you're doing, I've seen a lot of pot holders that have rounded corners. That definitely helps. The bias does help go around those nice curves. I guess if it's bias, it doesn't have corners, but if it's rounded, it doesn't have a corner. But I use it a lot in applique, but I'm going to show you how to use this. I love in the kit on a lot of these, and on these included, the smallest one is marked 6 millimeter, and I always have to go look and see what that is, but it says or 1/4 inch, and it also tells you what color it is. So that's really nice. So the 1/4 inch is the teal, the 1/2 inch is the peach, which is what I'm going to show you. The blue is a 3/4 inch, or I would call that turquoise, and then the white is 1 inch. And then it tells you how wide to cut the strip. So basically, if your binding is going to be, your bias tape is going to be a 1/2 inch, you cut it 1 inch. So that's kind of an easy way to remember it. So the first thing that I do is I cut my edge at about a 45-degree angle. Okay. Then I'm going to starch it, just the edge. And then I'm going to lay the tool will lay flat like this, and then I'm going to feed that end through. Now, here's where your little awl comes into place. You can get down in there and feed that fabric through, and then once it starts poking out, you can grab it with the awl. You can also use a pin. If it's too, like the little one, you may not be able to get the awl in, but you could definitely use a pin. So now I'm going to put a pin down in there, lay it flat, and I'm going to take my iron and I'm going to gently pull that through so that's flattening. Nice and flat. And you can get a seam through here. Sometimes my bias tape needs to have a seam in it, and it does go through the tool great. You just have to be careful. And I'm pulling this with, I have my finger on the little handle, and I'm just pulling it along. I just move this in so you can see it a little better. How I'm running that iron right next to the tip of that maker. If you try to go too far out, the fabric's going to get wonky on you. So you want to go right up next to the nose of that bias tape maker. All right, there you go. See how easy that was? And what I use the starch for on this is it just starts off nicely when you have the starch at the end, and then I hit it with the iron. It just makes a nice beginning because it's a little bit stiff. And then once it starts coming out, it just looks beautiful. So I have that side done. This is the biggest one. This is 1 inch. Then that's the 3/4. This is the 1/2. And this is the 1/4. Now you're probably thinking, what would ever I use that 1/4 inch bias tape for? Let me show you. I like using the 1/4 inch bias tape when I'm doing a lot of my hand applique. It makes great vines. It curves nice because it's on the bias. So I can just go up with my little vines and make them as curvy as I like, and they stay put. I'll usually tack these down with a little bit of Roxanne's glue or Sue Daly glue, whatever I have on hand, and then I go back and hand sew these down. You could also machine stitch them down, of course. A lot of bag patterns call for bias tape to top stitch right next to a zipper. This is the Hemingway bag. It's a pattern that's out in the market now. They have you just top stitch it right next to the zipper. It really gives that a nice finish. You don't even see any of the zipper tape. So I really like that. That was fun. And then here's 2 more appliques projects that I did. This I was using a little bit wider. And this, even though I machine stitched it down, I still used the bias tape maker. And I used a buttonhole stitch there. You can see that. And then this is the project that I've done. And this is not the 1/4 inch. I believe this is a 1/2 inch wide. Again, it's on the bias, so it curved real nice in there. And again, I used the buttonhole stitch. So there are many other projects. Like I said, you could do it with hot pads. You can put them on your quilts. They're really handy to have. I've used mine many times. Have fun with your bias tape makers, and happy holidays.